time I tried to add a watermark. Weren't already doing that to stream to YouTube and Twitch for the show, but there's no
Uh,
watermark. Then why not restream it up? Then I don't have to re-upload. Considerable
yeah,
time. So
yeah. I'll have to check it out. It looked like there wasn't any when I was looking at it with Paul a second ago.
welcome everybody. Messing
Let's
with
see.
my noise gate. Close threshold I think was too high. It was cutting off my voice. Now it seems to be better.
I'm voting on these things here.
Bruh.
Yeah. This one, I'll say yes. This person says, help me recover 12,000 USDT, mistakenly deposit it into Binance. So I guess they're in the project treasury and most people are voting no, but whatever. Good luck, homie.
Just for an individual person.
Yeah.
I think I probably vote no for that too. You can get that back. Like I sent to the wrong address for Qcoin or whatever,
Yeah.
and it was like they would have charged me $80 or something, but they said they would send back for an $80 fee, but it's for like $90 in a currency that then dropped to be worth less than $80. So I was like, it's not worth the fee. I've sent to the wrong.
Mm.
I feel like
I think this one's like, yeah, they did something similar where it was like an address on the Binance chain that they don't have the private keys for, and then
oh, I thought you meant they
Binance, the
sent it to.
exchange.
I thought you meant they sent it to the exchange.
Something like that. I don't know. I just voted yeah. I like to see somebody recover their stuff after a fuck up. Let's see what this next one is. Runtime
Pretty
release
sure.
version 35.
I mean, I don't know how Binance works, but if Qcoin does it, I'm pretty sure Binance would
Yeah.
send $12,000 to a wallet that they have access to and can control. Somebody can just send it
Yeah.
back if they have the private keys. I mean, they got to because they send shit around. I don't know. I don't know how that
Let's
works.
see.
I guess also welcome if anybody's watching the replay. Hydra platform. Is it still called just Hydra, or did they change the name to
I
something?
think hydration is it? Yeah, hydration is the name of it now.
There's another one. I typed in Hydra. There's a different coin on
Yeah.
Coin Market
HDX is
Cap.
the one here. I will say I really like. I'll show you this in a second. I just want to see what this proposal is before I go over there. It looks like this other one.
To
I'm voting on
explain
this.
how this
Everyone's already
works
voting
is
yes.
when you deposit, you can like stake tokens in order to receive the maximum amount of tokens back. For
Yeah,
staking, you
here's the
have to vote
staking.
on stuff. The voting increases your allocated rewards, or the speed of the allocated rewards, or does it also increase the?
I think it increases like the speed at which you can unlock the rewards.
Yeah, so if you want to
So
unlock your rewards faster, you have to vote. So that's why Max is voting. If some guy should get $12,000 back for fucking up his Binance
yeah,
deposit.
that's a more rare to see those types of proposals. This is more of a real like protocol proposal where they're talking
Also,
about upgrading
pretty
to
heavily
version
being voted no
35.
on. So
Yeah, I was just like, I'll vote yes with my 50,000. So I mean, it had already like millions of no votes, so I'm not gonna save the day, but I had empathy that time. This one seems like it also doesn't matter if I vote yes or no. 99.6% already voted yes with 2 billion in support. This is definitely passing. I'm just curious what it is, and I'll probably vote yes too because I just want the vote credit.
is it now hydration.net is the new one?
Let's see, what is it? Hydration app.hydration.net. Yes, that's right.
They changed the. They also changed the
Yeah, I
site.
think they're trying to like avoid the confusion between the other Hydra platform. Then it's an interesting one. Let's see. Asset fees
I
minted
need
to
to get
match
rid of the
asset
old
fees.
bookmark because, as I like to do for any crypto thing, so you're not getting fished to the wrong website
Yeah,
if you Google it. Because it's crazy that like Google will straight up just let you advertise a scam website. I remember that happened for the Whack Cloud wallet. Somebody just had a sponsored ad for a web cloud wallet, and then you could log it liquid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like Google should be better at vetting whether or not people are advertising like legit.
Ooh, this also cuts the fees on. Dude, this looks like a good upgrade. They're just cutting like trading fees and then doing yeah. I'm voting yes on this. So this is gonna be a yes vote
I
with.
haven't checked on a.
I usually do 5x.
I haven't checked on a Oasis in a long time. That's another one of my bookmarks on this.
Oh, I haven't either actually. I should
Oasis
probably
seems
get
like
on
they
my
have a lot
dragons.
going on, but one of those ones where you feel like give them 6 months and they should have built it based on all their partners. But
Yeah. That, but also I feel like some other partners are probably going to build on like the Sony chain and some of those other like chains as well. So it's like no reason why people can't double dip.
I mean,
There we go.
if you're building like
So
Sony's probably not going to want to besides their own,
yeah, very
like
very
wanting to
likely
have to like use them on multiple blockchains for your game.
voted. Yeah, here, look at this. This I was gonna say this I thought was really fucking cool. So I like to hold, like if I go to my wallet, I like to hold my balances in like cold storage wallets, so like my Trezor or like a Ledger wallet or something like that. And with the Polkadot blockchain, it's not super straightforward to do that. But if you come up here to like wallets and sign in, you can sign in with like any like of these other blockchain wallets, so EVM wallets as well. So you could sign in with like if I go manage wallets, you could see I can use MetaMask. The Polkadot extension is the one I was using to do it on Polkadot network. Rabi wallet is like the one I prefer using. Wallet Connect, and then all these other versions too. So if there's also like what's it called, like other wallets here. There's like the mythical wallet and stuff like that too. So like instead of having to create a Polkadot wallet and like get familiar with the Polkadot wallet ecosystem, I can just use my Rabi wallet and sign in. So if I come here and like here's a Rabi wallet, and now all these tokens and the liquidity pools and all like everything, if I was staking and all that stuff, when I do like a transaction here, like let's say swap 1,000 of these tokens.
Voted against your vote on this
Now,
retrieve request.
what was that?
Voted against your vote on this retrieve. Take my
That's funny.
288,000 against yours.
Damn. Well, how long did you multiply? I did 5x, so I
I
got
only did
50k, 50k 5x. So what's that?
nice.
But yeah, like now if I do the swap here, it's gonna like if I say sign transaction, it's gonna pop up. I don't know that you can see that actually on the screen share, but it pops up with Rabi wallet instead. So I just said cancel. But I really like that. I can see up here now. I'm using like an OX address, just like my normal EVM wallet that I already am familiar with, and I already know how to protect the private keys of. And so even though I want to use hydration and play with this ecosystem, which is a new ecosystem potentially to me as far as blockchain infrastructure goes, because this is a Polkadot parachain, which means it's its own blockchain within the Polkadot kind of EOS, the Polkadot like operating system framework. So you could equate that kind of to how Wax is built in like the EOS operating framework. So in Wax, how you're staking your resources differently from how you pay gas fees on Ethereum. It's the same thing on like Polkadot, where there's a whole different ecosystem of like gas assets and how it's all done. And so the wallets could be different, similar to how you might need to use a phantom wallet on the Solana blockchain, and it's not necessarily part of your MetaMask or your Rabi wallet, which you're maybe more familiar with. So I do really like that hydration lets you come to wallet and then just sign in with a wallet from a blockchain that you maybe are already more familiar with, and then it'll just create an account on the parachain, for you using that blockchain, which is pretty cool.
I have kind of a lot. I have 15,000 available.
Oh yeah,
If I claim it, then I.
that's pretty solid. Let's see what my claimable is. I could claim 200 out of 1,600, so not a lot. I would be burning 1,300 if I claimed right now. And you can see here how much longer I have to wait. If I want to claim like 90% of everything, I have to wait, like
Every
450 days. I think mine reset because I had it like I had unstaked it and then I just like restaked it not too long ago, like a couple months ago or 6 months ago or something. Yeah, see, I'm only like 200 days or something into this stake.
How do I see how?
At the top here under staking, this screen right here where it says available rewards, there's like a little crosshair of like where you are, and on the bottom the scale is
Right.
days.
Almost hit
Yeah,
the.
so at 450 you have 90% of your stuff you can unlock, and then
Is
you
it then
could
better
wait.
to stake and then unstake, or
At that point I think you're probably better off. Let's see, what's the APR?
37?
37% APR. You're definitely better off if you're at 450 days or so, like or 400, yeah, 50. Once you're at like 90%, you're definitely better off claiming all the rewards, burning the difference, and then restaking everything. So then you're earning the 35% or 37% on your full
Well,
balance.
good thing I only did a 3x vote.
Because because look, if you wait from 450 to wait another like 450 days, like once you get to like 900 back here, you're only going to unlock another 10% of what you're already allocated. And versus in that same 450 days, you'd go from 0 to 99 to
Lock it
90%.
another 30 days for the.
Yeah. There's also a couple like proposals that passed recently that suggest that the Treasury is going to use its H2O stack to buy more HTX. So if we go to stats and then look at the Treasury balance, I think the Treasury owns like $1.5 million or something of H2O. Yeah, $1.4 million. And so like they're talking about using this to buy back HDX, which yeah, it's almost like 30% or something of the value of the HDX the Treasury holds. So that's a really cool thing that maybe happens and boosts the price of HDX, which we're already seeing like the kind of like impact of that. If you've looked at HDX price in USD, you can see over the last month it's just been kind of like climbing, which is also not surprising because all those
I just posted the link, but it's app.hydration.net. This is on the Polkadot blockchain.
yeah, and
I
like I
have my
was
own
saying
Polkadot
is
wallet. I don't know if MetaMask can connect, but I have like the.
yeah, you can connect with MetaMask. Like I was saying, you can come here if I just log out of everything. So when you first get to the site, it looks kind of like this. You can see up here, connect wallet. You can say connect, and then you have the option to connect either on the Polkadot side, which uses the Polkadot JS extension, which is what I was using to do all the pre-testnet stuff and whatnot. But now that everything's live, you can see there's also the option for EVM. So then you can connect like your existing Rabby wallet with your like Ledger or Trezor or whatever, and then from there you can, like, let's say this is the first time I'm going to click up here on Rabby and choose like a different wallet that I haven't used before for this blockchain. So if I go to like this wallet, you can see there it won't be anything in there. So I'll be like, okay, cool, that's the wallet I want to use. Now that's the wallet I'm like signed in with. And then obviously if I go to wallet, there's nothing in this wallet yet. But if you wanted to, start filling the wallet, you could then go cross chain and send assets to this wallet from any of these other blockchains. And so like I did earlier, I moved some Solana over, which I took from Wax. So I just went, Alcor, swapped some Wax into USDC. Then on Alcor, on the bridge tab here, went to the Wax token bridge. Right, am blocked from fucking VPNs. But either way, transferred the Wax USDC to Solana as USDC, then swapped it into Solana, and then used the bridge to move Solana tokens. Like here, if I connect Phantom Wallet, you can see Solana tokens over here, and they arrive here as Solana tokens. And then what you can do, which is really cool, is when you're back on your wallet tab here, obviously it's empty, but once you have sent the Solana to your wallet, let's say that's the first asset you sent here, you'll be able to use the SOL tokens as the gas cost tokens because it still costs like, half a penny or something to send a transaction on this network. And you don't necessarily need HDX tokens to pay that gas. You can do that with any of the assets.
That's
So
definitely
once you
cool because
have
that's
that,
like an issue of bridging shit over to like most EVMs is you don't bridge over Ethereum, you get stuck.
yeah, exactly. So this way, it's like you could bridge over your Solana and then swap it for HDX, and you can make that happen even without actually having HDX in your wallet. And so there's a pretty easy on ramp into this environment. Using your existing EVM wallets, which I think that's really fucking cool. But yeah, let's look over at the market since we've been
What
chatting
was
this
up
up
with
for a
the
second.
inflation report? Is it the same thing it always is, where it's like
Oh,
exactly what people?
so this is like today with CPI numbers. That's a good segue, actually. Let me pull this up in a browser. Here's like the well, image to go with what the numbers were. Here, US CPI 3% was the inflation year over year today. CPI is consumer price index, so it stands for the cost of consumer goods relative to what people are actually paying for them. So you can see that the realized inflation year over year was 3%. This, according to this last report, and it estimated was 2.9, so outperformed by 0.1%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when your total number is 3.1% is not insignificant. That's like you're off by what, like 3.4%, or it was even more than that. But yeah, so and then same here, U.S. corporate CPI. So this is core CPI. So this is the metric for like the core market assets. So this would be like energy, like basic cost of basic needs such as like milk and eggs and stuff like that. Whereas the CPI in general is like the cost, factors in like the cost of cars and houses and other consumer goods that aren't necessarily bought on a daily basis. So the difference between the CPI and the core CPI is core CPI represents the cost of goods that you're more likely to need daily and regularly. So this is kind of like the index that affects everybody for sure, and this one affects kind of like the general everybody on top of the average consumer who's just out there buying and consuming the things they need to survive. This is more or less those survival goods. And you can see the CPI index is reported at 3.3% year over year inflation. So what as opposed to the estimated 3.1. So all again outpaced it by 0.2%. That's again, closing in on almost 10% like margin of error. It's not great. Closing, what is that, like 7% margin of error or something? That's pretty significantly off. And generally, this is indicating that the average cost of something last year that you're buying to consume, like toothpaste or
Eggs is the one that people like
whatever.
to talk about.
Eggs, I feel like you're definitely going to see a difference higher than 3.3%. But the average across all of those types of goods is up 3.3% in 1 year. That also is really fucking high, considering that it doesn't sound high, but years just keep passing very quickly, and it doesn't take long at an inflation rate of 3.3% like this for goods to like double and triple in value. So over the course of like 5 or even 10 years, a 3.3 consistent inflation or year over year rate is going to decimate your spending power. Like unless you're making money more and more each year to kind of keep up with this cost of goods rising, that's a pretty devastating figure. So that was a big kind of like the big news today in the what's it called, in the macro kind of economic picture. The CPI report come in with those preliminary numbers showing consumer good values rising more than projected and at a pretty high rate, over 3% year over year. That's pretty bad. We're definitely not done, I don't think, seeing the increase of consumer good prices, especially given the like global trade war, trade dispute conflict that's going on with all these tariffs being leveled against each other by like Trump saying he'll do tariffs on one person, then that person saying they'll do tariffs back, and so on and so forth. The price more or less like the increase of those tariffs, like those taxes are passed on to the consumer as well. So ultimately, expect to see tariffs and stuff also raise the CPI numbers, especially when those tariffs are like 25 or 30%, like 3.3% isn't very high in the light of the current like trade economy. It's pretty tricky. But yeah, with that in mind, let's take a look at the market. Last week we were looking at it, expecting it to kind of ad free. Need the ads, but we'll go back. Last week we were expecting it to kind of continue like its down slope. It started to like invalidate our bullish sentiment a little bit. Although looking at the weekly market here, this is Ethereum. Let's go to Bitcoin. Start on Bitcoin as we have. You can see we're just still kind of like ranging, not really making new lows yet. But you can see on Bitcoin, like the base of these highs, definitely like the body of these candles was a bit lower here, the low here. Not really forming higher highs, not really forming lower highs so much either on the weekly chart, just kind of ranging still. You can see our RSI is kind of like approaching oversold. So not too unfamiliar with like volatility moving forward. So like the market probably staying within this kind of range for Bitcoin, at least continuing sideways, at least for the next week. But with more downward pressure now that the CPI report numbers are giving us a sense that inflation is not under control and there maybe needs to be some kind of correction by the markets. That correction will most likely be stilled eventually by the Federal Reserve increasing quantitative easing again, meaning printing more money again. But until that starts happening, the markets are going to stay uncertain and a lot more volatile. So looking from the Bitcoin market, it's definitely looking like it's kind of ranging, being volatile, not unexpectedly. Looking at ETH, we're getting definitely a less smooth kind of picture. Again, we're just very much in this range between like 4,000 and 2,000, so pretty wide range here. You can see we even wicked last week during that big crash, wicked all the way down to like our support around 2,100. We also fell very quickly to get there. Like I remember if we go to like the 1 hour chart, for example, you can see that wick was, in the course of 2 hours dropping from higher than we currently are to 2,100. And that was, again, uncertain. This was happening on Sunday morning before markets opened on the news of like, new tariffs being leveled, uncertainty in the markets kind of manifesting. But you can also see in this lower timeline, we did get that big drop, obviously a correction after such a dramatic sell-off, but obviously not making higher highs on these lower time frames. You can see like this bottom of this range here
So we got a higher higher on Ethereum, but not Bitcoin.
Yeah, so Ethereum did get like, if we go to the daily chart, if we get to the daily chart, we got a little bit of a higher close now from this range. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily though, it's still very much in that range on the short term here. It's just very flat. I think we're going to definitely going to see Ethereum on this daily chart. I think retest at the very least our strength band, which is right now around 3,000. So we definitely have some more room up here, but we're still very much in the territory of looking to make a lower high. So if on the daily chart in the coming days we do get our rebound kind of up a bit and we top out before we can close, decidedly, I'd say about like above 3,400 or something. If we can't like push beyond there before losing steam and dropping again, I would say we're kind of making a lower high and confirming that the next step is going to be retesting this wick.
Mine that where it's 33.36.
Yeah, so basically that sounds about like this. So it'd be like we retest, push up. Let's see, what's 33?
It's got 29.15, 30.70, 32.02,
36.
33.
Yeah, that I would say is kind of like the top of where like the resistance is on this retest. If we can push beyond that, that's very bullish and starts changing the sentiment here on the shorter term timeline. But like Lewis just said, there's multiple levels of this resistance, within this kind of like range where we were flat for a few days. And then I am expecting us to run out of steam on that retest and not necessarily make higher highs. Of course, I'd love to see a higher high. If we get a higher high, then fuck yeah. the sentiment can change and we can start like rescaling back into like more aggressive crypto positions to capture the upside. But for now, I still like to stay hedged as this market maybe does its retests, forms a lower high, and then continues the downtrend. Since you can see clearly on the daily chart here for ETH, you know, we kind of double topped up here, or at least topped out here, if you don't want to call it a double top. But then you can see we made a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Now we're looking for that lower high to continue the trend. Nothing too outrageous just yet. Ugh, leave me alone. And then again, if we go out to the weekly chart, it doesn't look too bearish just yet on the weekly, but you can see that, you know, especially with this big wick, we did get that bear print, and now we're flipping to red here as well. So it's kind of like, you know, in line with what we are looking at just now, saying that the trend is still down. The indicator's kind of showing us the same thing, and it's likely that we get, you know, a retest to probably what will end up being around the strength band around 3K, between 3K and 33, and then get a rejection there to kind of like continue the sell off down. And again, we can reject there, make a lower high, and then push down and make a higher low to start moving up again. And then basically what we could see here is like, you know, oh, we're getting, you know, this kind of a turnaround high, and then basically a push up, and we hopefully continue the bull market. Hard to say just yet. It's going to be a few weeks before we get clarity on that picture. And in those few weeks, I am going to have to expect volatility and continue to stay on the sentiment of the market's probably going to continue selling off, mostly informed by the fact that the daily trend is clearly making lower highs and lower lows, and expecting that pattern to continue. And then also informed, obviously, by the macroeconomics picture of the moment, where we have all these, you know, trade agreements falling through and all these tariffs and, you know, nonsense just like being thrown around as if it's a legal precedent or something. I don't know. It's very strange to me. There's a little unprecedented. You don't generally see trade countries that are like trading allies and partners leveling tariffs against each other willy-nilly for no fucking reason. So I imagine there is a fallout to that, and that fallout is more likely down than up. But ultimately, there's also the other camp of this kind of logic that does suggest that, well, as the U.S. is becoming more and more reckless with its international fiscal policy, the U.S. dollar becomes weaker, and then potentially more sound money options, alternatives to dollars, such as Bitcoin, then, which again, this narrative comes from people who are very much like Bitcoin maximalists, but it does hold a little bit of weight to it, where, well, Bitcoin can't be, you know, inflated into absurdity. You can't require a response, like basically this irresponsible fiscal policy by, you know, the current administration, more or less, is forcing the hand. I think this is kind of like what the play is here, is going to force the hand of the Federal Reserve to start printing more money, which will in turn increase the value of a bunch of equity assets. So again, it'll make the stock market, the crypto markets and stuff rise when this happens. But the goal is to basically force that increase in money printing, and in turn make the value of all these assets that are held by the, you know, the people who own equity more valuable, while the value of the US dollar kind of continues to deflate on the global scale, which that picture is a good like battle cry or whatever, like call to action for people, I think, to use Bitcoin as a hedge against reckless global fiscal policy. But all of that stuff is
Definitely
kind of
isn't
a
there
bit of a
yet,
pipe
because I
dream,
mean,
honestly. Yeah, I was gonna say
people
all
say
that
that
stuff is like a
Bitcoin is digital
long
gold.
term.
If you look at the gold chart, it looks very different than the Bitcoin chart.
Oh, for sure. And I think gold also you're gonna see is probably like hitting new all time highs in the wake of all this uncertainty.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's
Like,
see, gold
even though technically, idealistically, Bitcoin
price
is an
per
inflation
ounce.
hedge, it does not
Yeah, look at
act
that.
as like gold, which is very like literally an inflation.
Yeah, so there you have gold kind of on a tear. Like our last flip in the weekly was all the way down at 1,800. We're almost at $3,000 per ounce now. So one of those gold coins is now worth almost $3,000. It makes sense. I mean, gold is a hard asset. You know, it holds value. It is also accepted by global like governments and settlement services. It's not like, you know, there's not parts of the world that are like we don't accept gold, you know, more or less. There's parts that won't accept US dollars, especially when they start getting printed out of nowhere like they have been for the last decade now. But yeah, with all that in mind,
I do think
I
it's
think what we're
important
looking
to say that, like, you don't
yeah,
know how any of this tariff shit is going to
no.
affect the
There's
Bitcoin market. And, like, we've kind of always said, don't
yeah.
trade the news, trade the charts. So I feel like that's worth reiterating, like, in both directions. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, people are always like, oh, like, now that there's a war in Ukraine, what's that going to do to Bitcoin? It's like, well, we don't know. All we can know is
Yeah.
what the charts show us. And you don't know how markets are going to necessarily react. You can guess, but at that point, you're gambling more than like trying to make like data based moves on the market.
Yeah, exactly. Dang. Wax isn't looking super hot either. Though. I'm looking at wax real quick too now. We
At
got to
least it
kind of
looks
like
like
pull
it's
back into.
kind of
It
oversold,
looked like
right?
yeah, it's definitely approaching oversold, and you can see it's also looking like it's finding that bounce here on the weekly charts strength band. So we're definitely needing it to now cross over fourth cents, which has been our purple line there has been our kind of like bear market floor for ever long time. Definitely, we tested it for the first time in December of 2019. So yeah, that's been it's been holding up for a long time. It's a long-term resistance level. It needs to be
Wait, it's
flipped back to
2019,
support.
right?
Yeah, all the way. It
Oh,
looks
okay.
like. Oh wait, no,
I was gonna
sorry,
say like
that's not
that's
right.
like it went to $1 at one point, and that was after we got into it, and we got into it in like
No,
2020.
yeah, that's my mistake. It's 2022.
That makes sense.
It was like, yeah, it looks like December 2022. Okay, either way, long time. It's now 2025, so it's
Wax
been holding up
definitely.
for a while. You can see it lost its kind of like support here, and we've been like like chugging below it for a too long, like longer than it would be a deviation, where you have a deviation here where we fell below it and then immediately stayed above it again. And so this last time where we actually did kind of break back above it, and we're like, oh, thank God we found our bounce right on it. You see how like when it broke through, it's like, well, we need it to hold, and it did hold, but only for a couple weeks before it like lost again. So this now almost feels more like a deviation, although it did have a bounce. So wax doesn't look super amazing. Um, although that doesn't mean we can't make DeFi moves on wax and move our stuff around. So let's do that. There's I guess before I jump onto our own wallet, here's something I like to do with my wallet that I could show off too, because it's kind of like easy. So like here, check this out. I'm gonna take my wallet and buy LSW with 20,000 wax. I'm gonna buy LSW from whoever has the best deal. So it looks like 18,719 is what I get from Wax on Edge. And if I do the same trade here, LSW 20,000, 18,718. So I'm going to do it on. Oh, I guess before I actually do the trade, here's why I'm doing it. So 18,719. If I copy this amount that I'm going to get and then come to the staking pool and unstake that amount, I end up with 131 wax more than I started with. And this is going to take me, I think, 3 to 6 days or something. So I'm making close to 0.5% in like less than a week, in guaranteed without a counterpart risk here. That's pretty easy. And if I'm just going to hold this 20K wax, I might as well do something like that. So I just wanted to show that as a potential like strategy of, like arbitraging the liquid staked wax. So if I actually go through and do this transaction, why isn't it like that? It's probably because to disable and re-enable ledger support. Here we go. Unknown. Oh, it's because my ledger's not on.
Do it.
Yep. Let's see, make sure I put this pin in correctly. There we go. Okay, let's try this again. Do the swap. You can see now I'm swapping 20,000 wax and I'm getting 18,719.69. That might actually be a big enough trade to register on this chart. Yeah, look at that. Whoop. Pushed it all the way back up. That was also part of the reason this is possible, is because of this, someone sold off a lot and now I'm arbitraging it back. So it's always nice to see when those opportunities exist. Why not exploit them? So now if I take my maximum amount here, you can see in a delayed position, 3 to 6 days from now, I'm going to get 20,131 wax. So I'm going to say unstake. And now pretty much, with a 3 to 6 day delay, I kind of made a risk-free 136 wax without having to kind of like hope I make more, hope I make less. The only downside is there's a vesting period here, 3 to 6 days. I can't actually trade that wax. But now you can see here, pending unstakes, I'm going to be receiving 131 point whatever amount more than I started with, which is $4. Hey, let's go. So it's always worth it to kind of like keep an eye out for when there is arbitrage opportunities for that kind of stuff, because it's not worth less. Like 10,000 or 20,000 wax isn't like an insane amount. I think people have the ability to do that, but you can do the same thing with much less wax. So like you could have done that with 200 wax too. Swapping 200 right now, for example, gets me 187, and then unstaking that amount of wax. I have to go here, staking, unstaking that same amount of wax, paste. 201. So you can see, like, yeah, sure, it's not quite like 130 something, but you're still getting 1.31. So it's basically the same thing. I did it with 20,000. You can do the exact same thing with 200 or 20, if you would like. So that's a fun one I saw. I just wanted to do that on stream, but let me change over to our DeFi wallet.
Winterfell's asking what wax is. I typed it, but it's liquid staked wax, meaning they are staking
Yeah,
it for you and they give you a token representing the staked wax. So it goes up in the value of staked wax, but then you can, it's liquid, so you can trade it or you can participate in DeFi with it while it's staked.
exactly. Like, you know how if you stake your wax in your own wallet, you're earning like 6 to 8% or something APR. Liquid stake wax is basically as if you had staked the wax in your own wallet and now have an LSW token as the as the receipt for doing that staking, and you can trade the receipt. Is
Or
more
you
or
can
less the
like,
concept behind it. Or
I
you
think
can
the main
unstake
use
it.
for it is pairing it, because there's like
Yeah,
LS wax, LSW pools, and that way you can essentially earn the stake and then the trade between the two, the arbitrage. And
exactly. Yeah, you can earn that. Or if you're just not trying to vote every week to keep your vote weight up, simply turning your wax into LS wax or LSW. Both are the same functional token. But just swapping for it and holding it in your wallet, you can see that if I go, for example, you can see here if I stake 100 wax, right? I'm not going to get 100 LS wax. I'm going to get 92 point whatever. And over time, this is going to get less and less and less. And that's because the value of LS wax relative to the value of wax is always increasing. Because LS wax or LSW is just wax plus stake rewards. So you can kind of visualize that too if you go to like trade and the spot market, and then look at
Winterfell's
LS
asking
wax in
pro and
terms of
con.
wax.
Pros are you don't have to keep voting to keep 100% stake weight, and that you can use it to pair with other tokens in DeFi, trade it without unstaking. The con is that you are not the one holding it. So if there's a exploit in the contract or nefarious things by the teams who created the contract, you don't hold your wax and you're not staking it. So pro is also the con.
Yeah, pretty much. So like you said, the pros are like you can continue earning the stake rewards without having to take any action at all, and you can use the staked wax anytime to just swap. Because like if you come here, like with my LS wax, if I had 20,000 LS wax, I just swapped into like 18,000 whatever wax. I could use the LS wax now or LSW, LS wax
There's
or
also
LSW. Both of them will do the
two of
same
them.
thing,
There's
by the way.
LS Wax and LSW.
Yeah.
They're both liquid stake wax. One is by Alcor, and then one is by Waxdow team.
Yeah, which is Wax Fusion is the name of the platform that
It's
does
the
that. So you can
same
go to
people though.
waxfusion.io. It is this. Yeah, that one's made by Mike. But you can see here, if I had like 100 LS wax in my wallet, I could still come to the swap page and just swap the LS wax directly for anything else. Versus if I had staked the wax, I would have to unstake, wait 3 days, and then I could swap it. So the main pro is that it keeps your wax tradable. And I'd say the main con is it's subject to market conditions. So you can actually see, in terms of LSW and LS and the value of wax, what happened. The reason why I was able to do that, what's that called? That arbitrage at all in the first place, I guess is because we had this, recent spike, and that happens because somebody with a large position in LSW just dumped it onto the market. And so there was, a difference between the actual value of LSW in terms of wax and the spot price of LSW when I minted it, which is why I was able to buy LSW with wax and then immediately just unstake it for a profit. And so that's the downside, is that there is short-term volatility that affects that spot price. So it's not always going to be exactly one-to-one, especially at times of like high market like price movements. Like let's say if wax suddenly exploded to like $1 again overnight, it's pretty likely that LSW and LS wax would depeg as people try to dump their wax, to capture that $1 price. And people would be willing to take the hit basically in the short term to sell at a premium price from their liquid stake assets back to wax so they can sell the wax while the price is good. And then there will be people basically who take that as an opportunity, like I just did, who will buy back those now depegged assets and go through the process of actually waiting the 3 to 6 days to unstake them and then capture the profit there. So make the arbitrage that way. And that equation will always average the price of the asset to the actual underlying token. So LS Wax or LSW will always be worth at least 1-to-1 with Wax, and should then also be 1-to-1 plus the staking yield over time, but in short-term increments. And that might mean the moment you need your Wax to be liquid, it's possible that the price is off of that peg. So there's the other downside, is you are at risk and at the mercy of the actual market. But it is relatively mitigated risk. If you look also at the staking, there's quite a bit of value participating in these positions. If we look at LS Wax, does it have the that shows here TVL? So there's almost 8.9, almost 10, almost 9 million wax staked on Alcor this way. So almost $300,000, which on wax, that's quite a bit. And if we look at the same, let's go to Wax Fusion. Oh, I should probably type URL. Waxfusion.io. We can get a sense of how much wax is participating in LS. So almost also close. So almost 700, almost 800,000 wax. So slightly less than LSW, but LS Wax has a similar deal. And then here you can go, if you go to liquid staking, you can also see the APR for this one. So currently it's 3%. This one adjusts much more real time, where I think currently the Alcor one is showing 8%. And so there's also, obviously liquidity opportunities where you can pair LS Wax and LSW, be exposed to the trading fees between those two, and be exposed to the staking fees generated by both of those. And of course, it's just the underlying wax price as well. Okay, so with all of this stuff in mind, let's look at what we've done with our LP positions. Last week, we removed from, I think we had Rook and Wax, which was running out, I think a day or two after our stream ended. And so we pulled from that and from anything else that wasn't earning any APR anymore, and we moved it into a pool of Wax paired with USDC. So just basically half cash, half Wax. And the idea here is that as the value of Wax, if the value of Wax continues to either trend sideways or downward, the value of Wax decreasing is going to pull from our USDC side into the Wax side and generate some more Wax for us. You can see that's already we're kind of even actually from what we started with. And then on top of that, obviously we're earning trade fees. Nothing too crazy. It looks like half a cent per day. But we're doing that on $20. So nothing to ignore either. Either way, we've set that. That one's not earning any APR. If I go back up here to farms, let me take a look at if there is any new farms that we want to jump into. And I actually immediately see Rook LS Wax did get an extended deal here of rewards, 10,000 more LS Wax being distributed to the farm over the next 3 months, and 130% APR. That's kind of hard to ignore, honestly, especially with Wax kind of looking like it wants to bounce at least and move this week kind of up and down, more or less like volatility expected. We're definitely going to outperform it. Let's say if we have a flat week, we'll definitely outperform Wax USDC by being in this Rook LS Wax pool, unless the value of Rook starts to take a huge drop. Looking at Rook, though, which I think Rook is part of the Pixel Journey game and has deep liquidity from the creator. Oh, you can see here. Let's go to the daily chart, actually. Rook and Wax. It's been relatively flat, honestly. I mean, a little bit of a downward slope here, but nothing too outrageous that makes me feel like, oh, this is just dropping. Obviously, this has a weird chart. I think these big stair steps were the token, like the project owner, like buying the token off the market and adding liquidity to it, if I remember correctly. So there's a decent amount of liquidity in this pool that isn't participating in the rewards. If we go back to Alcor, you can see there's actually a 100 million Rook in the pool with a counterpart of 835,000 LS Wax. This is one of the deepest liquidity pools on the Wax blockchain, which is kind of wild. So there's good amounts of liquidity in here. Has been for a while. It's the creator of the Pixel Journey token here, the Rook token, or not Pixel Journey. It's the RPG. I forget the name of it now. I should say it right. Either way, they're displaying their own confidence in this, and I think I'd love to continue to earning APR. I feel like I want to move into this pool. Looking at some of these other pools, I don't see anything else that I'm like PXJ is Pixel Journey. So Rook is the RPG. I have a few of the NFTs from it, but I forget the name of it right now. Either way, looking at a few of these other pools, nothing like super jumping out at me, I guess. 99% is pretty high for this one, but it's also because it just rolled over. You can see these ones are on a 7-day schedule and they readjust every 7 days. So I'd expect this to drop off steeper. And we're already looking at 130% from the Rook pool. So I say we just jump into this one. What I want to do is, I guess the other thing I want to do is let's make sure that what we're already in isn't going to run out before the end of the week. So I'm going to toggle the staked only toggle here and see that we still have some days left. And yeah, we have more than enough left. I know for sure that FTW always regenerates usually over the weekend or before it runs out anyway. 52 days is great here, and then this one has a ton of time left still. So I guess what I want to do is I'm going to start by, let's actually claim all these rewards first. And then what we want to do is unstake the Wax USDC pool and then swap those assets for Rook and LS Wax and create them as their own pool to be part of that liquidity pool that's paying 130% APR. That'll be our move for the coming week for Wax here, at least. So far, I claimed all the rewards, and next I'm going to go up here on the Earn tab to the Pools page. Pools, here's the pools. 280 wax or so. On the wax side, I'm going to say remove and claim all fees here. Let's see. Signed. Next, I'm going to go to Wax on Edge just because I like my aggregator here. Also, shout out to Wapaka for making this tool. This lets me, trade what I want to trade, but across all of the different, dexes on Wax at the same time. So here we go. I'm going to do the USD, or I guess I should do USDC into Rook, and I'll do Wax into Liquid Stake Wax. That keeps it most direct. So I'll go $9 to Rook, 9.1. Great. It's about what I expect. You can also see that the path that it chose for me here was USDC, Wax USDC into Wax on Alcor, and then Wax into Rook on Taco Swap. So it did actually use both or two different dexes to finish the swap, which is why I'm here in the first place. Next, I'm going to do Wax into LS Wax. And let's see what the route is for this one. LS Wax. Looking this up. And then here you can also kind of see, the relationship LS Wax has with Wax. You can see how it's more or less just it goes up and up and up based. They have the short term. This is a nice visualization of what I was talking about a second ago. You have short term volatility. So every now and then there may be a moment that you want to cash out or whatever, but it's not where it should be. But for the very vast majority of the average of this price, you're going to see it, holding 1-to-1 with Wax
You can
plus
also
its
just
APR.
unstake if the price gets pegged like that.
Exactly, but then you are subject to the unstaking time, which is 3 to 6 days. So if you are, like I said, if it spikes to $1 tomorrow, and you want to sell for $1, then it's possible we see this token deconnect from the actual Wax price for a short time, as many people sell back to Wax to dump it over on an exchange or something.
Same thing would also happen
let's
if you have
swap
it
in.
staked, though. You'd still have to wait 3 days to unstake it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's not even that, and actually it's even a better, I would say, position to be in than being staked, because if you are unstaking, first of all, when you unstake, you have to wait the 3 days no matter what. And while you're waiting those 3 days, you're not earning trading fees anymore. With the liquid stake derivatives, not only are you still earning staking fees and stuff for the time while your tokens are unstaking, but you're also able to opt for an option of like, I don't care, I don't want to wait, I'll take the whatever percentage loss and get the fuck out of here now. So that could even be a positive, even though you're taking a potential like hit on the peg price. It might still be worth it to do that, just to have the option to stay liquid. Like sometimes liquidity is worth more than anything. So I just swap both of those, and I'm going to go back to this market here, and I'm going to go back or make a pool here. Or I know which pool it is, but I'm going to go through the farms to like make sure I choose the right one. I know it's Liquid Stake Wax Rook at, I think, 3%. Here we go. Yeah, 0.3%. Rook, Liquid Stake Wax. I'm just going to go to details here and then say add liquidity. It'll just take me straight to the liquidity pool page with the tokens and the correct range already selected. So you can see 0.03 tokens. I want to go infinite range, and then I should have more or less even parts because I just did the swap here. You can see I have 251 and I only need 249. So I'm going to end up with like 2 extra LS Wax, whatever. Let's do this. By adding to the pool, you'll also automatically be staking to the rewards program on Alcor. That's how that one works. Several other blockchains and DEX platforms would require a secondary step of also staking to the rewards pool. But now that this is through, we should see it populate. There it is. So now you can see if we go to farms and staked only, there should pop up my I guess I should probably, refresh. For some reason it just uses the cookies to not actually look at what the current farm positions are. But once I get a look at this, Math is stumbling up here. You'll see I should be in the farm and starting to earn LS wax from the incentive reward pool there. There it is, Rook. And if I go to details, I've already earned 0.0010 LS wax, and you can see I'm expecting a 1.7 wax per day. That's pretty solid. I'm very happy with that. The other thing I've done was, claim rewards from all these other pools. So what I should do is now go to the wallet tab and take a look at what do I still have in this wallet. And it's definitely, oh yeah, okay, so we got 28,000 FTW, some wax, it looks like some Yeet tokens, some HTT still. But all this is like less than a penny or 2 pennies worth. So anything below, I think 2 pennies, I kind of ignore. So I'd say Yeet, FTW, and LS Wax I still have. And because I'm pretty sure I have one of those as a pair, LSW and Yeet, I think is the pair I have. Yeah. Or FTW and LSW, both of these. Let's take a look at which one of these is paying more and then just compound into that one. So we got almost 300% here, 293, and then this one is 27 plus 27, so 40, 54, plus 30 is 84, plus 46. We're not going to get close to 293. This is definitely going to be the winner. So I'm going to go to wax or FTW LS wax, and I'm just going to go to pools, and I'm just going to add the amount of FTW and difference that it still wants. Oh, I guess I don't have enough of that, so we'll just do like this. And just let that cook for next week because 290% is a lot. Bam. Sweet. That's all I want to do with.
Which is the best pair for LS Wax to stake? I'm going to say that LSW/LS Wax has the least chance of impermanent loss, but not the highest APR. So it depends on if best do you want. Just tolerance is the best. Every step you take is more tolerance risk. Taking your own wax, very low risk.
Yeah.
Having somebody else take your wax, less risk. Pairing that more with a token somebody else manages, even more risk. So
even more, yeah. I would say so. Like LS Wax. Let's see which ones are incentivized. I'd go for the incentivized one. The one that I was doing most recently was LSW LS Wax. Let's see if we can find that one. LS Wax. So there's LS Wax and just wax isn't bad. Like this is going to be the least amount of worry as far as the value of this pool in terms of wax should only really be going up. And on top of that, you should be earning then 14% APR. That's pretty solid. Keep in mind these APRs are going to be a little bit skewed because again, today is the reset day on a lot of these. That's why they're all at 7 days. And you're going to need to restake these every 7 days to continue earning APR here, which is kind of a bummer considering, the whole point of having a liquid stake assets is for that stuff to be on autopilot. So I know there's a longer term plans at least to eventually make this automated too, so that anyone who's staked to the pool will automatically roll over into the next rewards term, but it hasn't been the case. At least not yet. But you can see LSW and LS Wax would be the other alternative I would suggest for a wax, kind of like bullish wax position, because this one is both sides of this pool are liquid stake derivatives. So basically both sides of the pool are wax plus their staking yield. And by adding to a pool like this, you're earning, 5 to 10% or something APR on the staked wax, plus the trading yield wax from this position, plus 16% APR on the incentive side. So lots of ways to kind of like earn while actually not exposing your wax to any real
Waxfusion.io, the site for
yes, waxfusion.io. And then there's a slight say again.
Winterfell is asking like shit, is the best place to swap for it on Alcor? I was like, swap you should check wax on Edge, but then you should compare the price they get for swapping it with how much you would get for staking it on both waxfusion.io and then Alcor on the stake button.
I'll do an example of that too. So let's say you have 1,000 wax you want to do this with. If I'm on wax on Edge and I do 1,000 wax into LS wax, I'll do 1,000. We can see that that's going to give us 896 LS Wax. If I just swap it, and it's doing that by routing through these pools. The next thing I want to then check would be, Wax Fusion. If I go to stake and I do stake, let's say 1,000 Wax, and then I also want to make sure Liquify is turned on. That gives you the difference between, you see down here, what you're receiving. What I want is LS Wax. So by doing Liquefied, I'm actually getting LS Wax. If I don't toggle this, what I'm actually getting into my wallet is a token called S Wax. S Wax is non-transferable. So if you accidentally do that, just come back to withdraw, and then you can come and you can liquefy your S Wax and get LS Wax for it, or you can just unstake it again. But yeah, so make sure you want to have liquefy turned on. But you can see I will receive 895.93 compared to 896. So it's a better deal to swap for the LS Wax than it is to mint it at the moment. When that is the case, that also gives you, the ability to swap for it and then unstake it. So like here, if I were to say, that's the thing I did at the beginning of this stream, or at the beginning of the Wax section anyway, where if you, let's say you have 1,000 LS Wax, you could swap it right now and you would get 1,109.2, let's say, Wax for it, or you would be able to come here and do withdraw LS Wax, and we can do 1,000, and then you can see here 1,000. You're actually going to be getting 1,116. So the difference is going to be, 7 Wax or so on that trade. And so again, you could then basically make a swap, buy 1,000, unstake it, and pocket 7 Wax profit after waiting for
does that include the platform fee?
Yeah, the minimum received here. This will be like what you actually end up with in your wallet.
The other one has a much lower minimum received. If you look up 1103, look down below fine print.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, that's true. So this one actually, this is almost always you end up with the quote here, but it is possible that there's market movement so quickly and your slippage tolerance is going to decide how close you are between this and this one. But yeah, it is possible to get less than this.
Slippage tolerance through this.
Yeah, at the little setting wheel here, slippage protections are up here. So by default it's at 0.5%. So this transaction would fail if it were to slippage more than 0.5%. You can make that even more aggressive by being like 0.1 or something. So the
Winterfell's asking what's slippage for and why is it 10% on Alcor. That's if the price changes while you're making the trade, how much you're willing to adjust from the displayed price to what you receive.
Yeah, so you can see actually here, since I just changed it from 0.05 to, from 0.5 to 0.1, you can see now my slippage minimum is up. You can see how it's like, I'm expecting this, but I would accept this 1 Wax less. A second ago, this was, 1103 instead of 1108.
10%
so by
is
adjusting,
massive though for like
10% slippage is huge. So basically, if you're over on Alcor and you're on their swap tab, there's this little icon up here, and you can see slippage percentage is set to 10%. I think maybe by default. A lot of that has to do with
low liquidity stuff.
With people who don't, exactly, people who don't necessarily understand how this works and how adjusting your slippage works. And so that instead of having a bunch of people getting failed transaction errors based on slippage tolerance issues, it just defaults to a higher slippage is my assumption here. But again, it's up to you. So you can say 0.01 here, and now your transactions will fail unless the slippage tolerance is adhered to. So 10 is a little high. I'd also change by default
meme coins with $10 liquidity. Like you are going to make a 10% impact, and then you won't be able to trade any of them if you have your slippage too low.
Yeah, like if I take this HTT token, for example, if I want to do like 100 Wax into that, you can already see I'm taking like a 3% price impact hit. This is definitely going to hit me with the slippage as well because of that. Yeah, and then again, the slippage is going to be more or less based on the movement in price between when you've sent your swap transaction to when it actually executes. The price impact is the other side of where your money is getting eaten up, and in this case, it's being eaten up because there's not enough liquidity. And here you can see what the trade route is. Also by default, I think it's set to 2 jumps. I would also set this to 3 just so that you're able to potentially get a better trade route if there's more jumps involved.
What
But
Charles asking is 0.5% slippage. I feel like that's pretty reasonable.
that should be fine. Yeah, that's like a normal slippage I think to set for basically like trading tokens that aren't scams. like
Yeah. Also,
like you
I
should be able
mean,
to
you should
trade
have different
most stuff with
different
point
for
0.5.
different. Like if you're trading a stable coin into a stable coin,
Yeah, then
0.5 is
even
too much
lower
for
would be
me. I don't
fine.
want
Yeah.
0.5% slippage if I'm just trading dollars for dollars. So like your tolerance has to depend on like the wilder the token is, the more slippage you kind of tolerate.
Yeah,
But if
exactly.
you're trading like, I don't know, Bitcoin for Ethereum or like super stable things, it's like that have tons of liquidity. You're like, I don't want a bunch of slippage on this trade because I can go to a centralized exchange or somewhere and get basically no slippage. So like it just depends
Yeah.
on what you're
It
trading,
it
but
depends and on the frenzy of the state of that current asset. Like for example, when like Trump coin launched, like you had to set your slippage way up because of how much that token was being traded. Like it was doing like $6 billion of volume in the first 24 hours. So like during like a minute or something, there'd maybe be like 20 or 30 different trades happening. So when I said, okay, I want to buy some of this token, there may have been like 4 or 5 other buy or sell offers that happened between when I got quoted my price and when I hit buy. And now if my slippage tolerance isn't high enough, my transaction is going to fail. And I saw a lot of people complaining when those tokens launched. I mean, part of those failed transactions were also just the over encumbered nature of the Solana blockchain, but a good amount of those failures had to do with slippage tolerance like issues where like I don't understand why my transaction's failing. It's like because you're trying to trade a meme coin with like a 1% slippage tolerance and it's moving like 5% a second. So that's another reason why you'd want to trade. Like if you're trading a token that's like really high in really high trade volume demand at the moment, you need to increase your slippage. So for example, during that event I was describing earlier, like let's say wax jumps to a dollar tomorrow, like for like over the course of like an hour. During that time you're gonna like, oh shit, I have all this LS wax and I want wax so I can trade it over at Binance or Qcoin or wherever I can actually sell it for whatever I want. Well, in those cases you might want to increase the slippage tolerance of your trade, because if everyone's trying to sell their LS wax at the same time, your slippage tolerance might make your transaction fail. And then it's a problem because as everyone's trying to sell, the spot price is also dropping from the peg. And so, having a higher tolerance for slippage and therefore accepting, let's say, like 5% slippage while the price is still up here might still end up giving you a better deal than versus accepting 0.5% slippage, but when the price is already down here because, a lot of the volume that was in front of you got cleared first. So increasing your slippage tolerance can keep your transactions from failing on on assets that are in high demand or where the price is currently like very volatile. But yeah, I think
Peter
that's
Charles
what we want to do
asking,
this
can I
week with.
pair the LS wax with another alcohol? Yeah, my recommendation would be to pair the Alcor one with the Wax Fusion one, because then you're on both sides you're holding liquid stake wax, and then you're also
Mm-hmm.
receiving farm rewards plus the rewards on top of that for holding both tokens. And you were also asking, where do the rewards come from? Revenue
Yes.
sources for the Wax Fusion protocol are taking wax deposited by users. So that's just it is like 6 to 8 PR for
Yeah.
staking wax.
The same that you get when you do your own staking from your own wallet.
Renting CPU generated by user staked wax. So they rent out CPU on the website. People pay to rent the back to use it. Staking
I buy that, so that makes sense to me. I've
staking
bought that a couple
wax
times.
and protocol owned liquidity. That would be the just the wax they own, right?
Yeah, the wax that Wax Fusion owns that isn't part of the backing for the actual LS Wax tokens that they issue. So they actually own some of their own wax, like project owned liquidity.
There's an instant redemption fee for users who don't want to wait 1 to 21 team. 0.05%. That would also
Yeah.
token.
So
Fees
that's
earned from the
that's
token.
another interesting one too. That's not an option with LS Wax. Like I said, with LS Wax, you have to wait the 3 to 6 days. I'm sorry, with LSW. With LS Wax, you don't have to wait. You can decide to take the penalty as long as the early redemption pool still has enough wax liquid available to fill it. So they keep like a smart contract balance of some wax that's there in case people want to, give up some of that fee in order to quickly unlock those tokens.
Also worth saying that this one says 1 to 21 days, so could miss a
Yeah, this
huge
one's a little
window.
longer.
So I don't know. My plan, if the market starts getting more, get out of the liquid stuff way before it becomes. I mean, you will miss like a small spike. We see alt season. Alt season should hopefully last in like there will be signs that all the altcoins are pumping. That won't end in
Yeah,
like 3 days, hopefully. And then fees earned from
yeah.
the protocols: LS Wax, Wax liquidity. So the swap fees, right?
Those are swap fees and I think reward fees because they stake
And
for
the
their own
farm
rewards
reward
pool.
fees will also be put back into the for
Yeah,
the
okay,
people.
that's the second part then. Yeah, so that's also again protocol owned liquidity supplies some of the liquidity available on Alcor, and then obviously the yield that
Not
liquidity makes is redistributed.
not 100% of the staked wax goes back to the stakers. Some of it goes to only 85%.
Yep.
So there is a chance that the you get less APR than the Alcor one, but so far I believe the Wax Fusion one has always outpaced the Alcor one. But technically, not
Yeah.
100% of the
Generally, yeah.
user stake wax goes back to the users. So, in
Yeah,
theory,
it's
could not be, but in practice, so far it has.
yeah, it's also there's also an amount of protocol owned wax that's being staked that's earning staking rewards that isn't represented by liquid staked wax. So there is an amount like it's just like it's a higher stake yield just because there's more wax being staked than it says there is basically than it's credited for. But yeah, it is possible for it to underperform. That's also assuming if you're staking on your own wallet that you're keeping your stake weight at 100%. So that means you're voting for block producers every 7 days, every 10 days. So if you're taking those actions manually already, then yeah, you can possibly outperform this, but yeah, like Liz said, it's generally outperformed individual performance, and LS Wax has outperformed LSW for quite a while as well. That has to do with the fact that LS Wax has more revenue streams than LSW. LSW, all of its revenue streams come from staking, whereas LS Wax has, the rented CPU and a couple other additional things. And then you're asking which one's a good pool. We just went into the LS Wax Rook pool. We definitely have a higher
No,
risk.
he's asking about.
Okay, specifically those. Yeah, then I would stick to either LSW or LS Wax paired with each other or paired with Wax.
Trying to show it.
Or you could potentially pair Index into that, but Index gets like no volume, so maybe not worth fucking with. But Index is also backed by Wax directly, so that's another like derivative assets
Yeah, you can
on
see right
on the
here,
Wax blockchain.
APR 13%, LS, or wait, no, 16% for LSW, LS.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. Expect that to fall a little bit over the next day or so because today's the first day that it got re-upped.
Yeah, you do have to redo this once a week on Wednesday. You are going to enter this
Yeah,
pool, but you're still, even if your pool gets unstaked, you're still earning the APR from both of the
the
tokens being staked. You're just not earning the pool.
yeah, you're earning both the tokens APR and the trading fee APR still. You're just not earning the incentives unless you go back every Wednesday. So if you tune in on Wax Wednesdays, we'll remind you.
Change that to infinite. I think
You
so, right?
can for those. You can be very tight for those. I used to set them like at 1% or
That's
something,
another
like
one you have to
1%
monitor
both
it more the
directions.
tighter you set it. Because mine went
That's
100%
true.
on one side because I set it tight.
You do end up earning more fees, like trade fees from the swaps if you set it tighter. But if you do infinite range or if you do tight range, it has no effect on how much of the APR from the incentives that you earn.
I think I earned 0 if I am out of 100% one range,
I think you do. Like you can't join a pool if you're out of range,
Yeah, I
but
was
if
gonna
you
say.
enter a pool
And then I
in range
also am
and it
not earning
moves out of
swap fees
range,
because I'm 100% on one side. So like,
yeah. So
if
that's definitely
just depends. The tighter you make it, the more you're gonna have to manage it and swap back and forth and restake. So it just depends on how badly do you want to manage this position versus how much you just want to
yeah,
let it ride. The If you do infinity range, you won't have to deal with that ever really. You just got to restake once a week. You make it really tight. Depending on how tight it is, you make it super tight. You might have to rebalance your position every week. Just depends. Also, I've got a giveaway going, exclamation point neon, if you would like to join. Gonna give away some woof. And then swap into LS Wax and
yeah.
make it a make
Join
that
the
position
pool.
if you want.
Join the pool party. Let's see. Ooh, there I am. Nice, 12 years old like that too. See. Oh, that was close, but no banana. Red trail for the win.
Definitely think the Ellis Wax stuff. Two different ones that you can pair.
Yeah,
Pretty convenient as far as like low risk. Very long time on wax, but here
dead.
whereas like basically any liquidity you're entering, you're risking losing like half of your wax
Yeah,
overnight token just being distributed through some game, some of the exploits that you cracked, and you feel like
yeah,
it's the
exactly.
safest thing that's been on wax.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to see like protocols like that built on wax because it is super useful. I mean, it's the most popular protocol on Ethereum blockchain is also liquid staking. If you look at the Lido protocol, they have billions of dollars in staked liquidity. And just like on Wax, there's multiple choices. Like you don't have to use Lido staked ETH, which would be WST ETH, wrapped staked ETH. That's the like staked ETH. That's the same thing on Ethereum as what we're doing here on Wax. But yeah, there's also like WE ETH or EZ ETH or R ETH. So those are all like restaked ETH protocols. So DeFi protocols that are doing similar stuff to this. So just like what we're doing here, you could be on Uniswap, for example, and pair WST ETH with Easy ETH and set a really tight range or something like that, and then farm Ethereum rewards with Ethereum derivatives that are backed by Ethereum, effectively only keeping your token or your investment exposure to Ethereum while you're also able to farm pretty substantial like volume rewards. So like when I do stuff like that, I'm looking to make between 20 and 30% APR, which, compared to simply holding ETH is a lot. It adds up. You're getting 0.3 ETH for every 1 ETH
And
each year that
Winterfell's
you're holding it.
asking, rewards for staking automatic, or you claim them? They're automatic. The rewards are claimed through the value of the token going up. So you
Yeah.
get the rewards by when you trade your token back into Wax, you will get more Wax than you staked to get it. So there is no claiming, and there's no like, you don't just get extra Wax in your wallet like staking, like you're farming or anything. It's just the value of the token going up is the rewards built in.
Yeah. Like if you saw that chart on Wax on Edge there, where it's just kind of like like a diagonal line. Let's see how far back it goes. Yeah, here we go. From launch.
That's also like due to people arbitraging. Technically, the price is
Yep.
going at a rate through staking that's slightly different than the chart, because chart is
Yeah.
responding to the value going up, but that's not. It's a
You
pretty
can
good.
see it's also a lot more than the projected APR because looking at the chart, one token started at 1 wax because that's what it would have been at the start, right? But now is 1.11. So it's already up 11% since launching. And it launched, when did it launch? It launched in August of last year, so less than a year, and it's doing like 11% in, what is that? 1, 2, 3.
It's like 6 months around.
Yeah, that's not bad. So, it's closing in on like 18-20%.
And if
And
you've been
that's,
participating in the like the farming and all the other stuff, there's definitely
I was about to say, yeah, that's not even including any of
compounding.
that doesn't include the fees you made in the liquidity pool or the reward incentives that you earned from the farms. So potentially very, very lucrative way to participate in wax staking, and it's more passive than doing the staking yourself.
Not if you're doing.
That's true. When you add farming in, it
I don't
becomes
think
a
once a
little
week
bit
is that crazy.
similarly
To be honest,
active.
though, like not too
Oh
bad.
yeah,
Also, like still, if your farm position goes down, you're still earning the trade fees and also the staking fees. Though, still not
yeah,
like a bad thing to be in the pool, even if you're not taking it every week. But it definitely is a nice boost if you keep up every Wednesday. Put a
yeah.
put a thing in your phone that every Wednesday buzzes and tells you to restake your.
Yeah, I missed my. Today was voting day on Aerodrome. I missed my vote.
All
I'm
right,
a
last
fool.
caller doing another giveaway! Exclamation point neon. If you join, giving away another million woof.
Oh, actually, that's not the worst. I thought I got screwed because I forgot to submit a vote. But I guess what happens is it just takes the thing you voted for last week and continues voting for that. That's not so bad. Last week I voted for the euro. You know how like US dollar coin has something like the USDC? There's a EURC from also made from Circle. It's like the same distributor that makes euro coin, makes dollar coin, makes euro coin as well. There's a euro coin pool that I voted for. It's half euro coin and half Bitcoin, or Coinbase staked Bitcoin. But that's not bad. Looks like they paid about 20 bucks this week. Half of it, 13 of that was in Bitcoin. Okay. Not too bad. Winterfell says I only do ETH staking on OKX exchange now. I do most of my ETH staking directly on the blockchain, but it's I died. It's cool to see how many like exchanges are getting into the staking game as well. Also, this last I think like 2 days ago or something, there was the first time an ETF. You know how there's now Ethereum ETFs. The first time an ETF applied to be allowed to stake the ETH that they're holding. So there's potential that some of the exchange traded funds on the stock exchange are going to start also staking.
Like overall, there wasn't really overall crypto picture hasn't really changed since last week.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. It's kind of like we're looking for that retest. We're looking to confirm this downtrend continues by making a lower high.
It was also saying long term completely over, but at least short term it's looking bearish, but it might
Yeah,
part of a
exactly.
longer
We need.
trend. Either way, it's also saying it's looking less and less like that, like the trends will be as have been. Oh, every 4 years it just goes crazy, and then every goes down.
Yeah, yeah. We had like a model that kind of tracks the like 4-year cycles, but that model also runs out like at the end of this bull market. So the if that model is true, then the cycles are over.
Which
So we
makes it
probably
harder
won't
for
get.
the.
Makes it way harder to trade.
How do I
Let's
change
see,
the range
Winterfell's.
and
If
what's
you
left mine?
if you click the default 5 up or down, that keeps your range relatively wide by still being way more
You can also
targeted than
just drag
infinite.
it though. Like there's
Yeah,
You can visually
exactly.
just
Either
drag the range, how far you want it, and
the like
then
red and the green little things you can drag, or you can numerically punch in.
is not equal
Um,
on each side though, then you will not it won't be 50-50. So like you can make it so
that's true.
one side is way wider than the other, but then you have to provide more of one token than the other. So depends on what you're trying to do.
Yeah. I was actually doing that for a while. What I would do is because, like Lewis was saying, LS Wax has outperformed LSW. What I was doing is I was making a liquidity that was like half a percentage wide, like from, and it was almost all of it was on the LSW side. So, but I would supply liquidity, like 99% of the liquidity was LSW or LS Wax, and then the LSW was like barely anything. And then as LS Wax climbed relative to LSW, the whole position would turn over into LSW, and all my LS Wax would sell. I would earn all the trading fees from that happening. And then once I was all the way back to LS Wax, I would go and I would unstake the LS Wax, wait 3 days, get the wax, and then either buy or stake more LS Wax and start again. So basically, like, do it one-sided liquidity, expecting that side to outperform the other side, and then making really tight ranges to supply that liquidity. While I was doing that, I was like 90% of that entire pool with my liquidity because of how tight my range was, and I was doing that with like 50,000 wax. So
All right, we got
50,000
another
wax at that
giveaway
tight
going.
range really hooked it up.
Might be our last giveaway. I think we're kind of hitting a natural ending spot to this. I don't know how much more there is to talk about.
Yeah, we kind of got through what we wanted to.
Hasn't been like I don't know. For a while there's crazy shit happening like crypto with all the Trump coin and Melania coin and all
Yeah,
that stuff. It kind of calmed down a little bit, but
yeah,
hopefully some new cool stuff pops up. I'm still waiting for like more games to try out. Sad.
yeah, for real.
I was looking at like the Midnight Society situation, and it's just like that sucks.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy too, because like that one was like they had like all those Call of Duty developers and people that worked on Halo, and like about as legitimate
right.
of a team you could get for building a game on the blockchain, and then still failed. So it's like, fuck,
Yeah,
like if they can't do it, who is going to be able to do it? I was like
yeah.
rereading the stuff because I was like, oh, are they trying to sell this studio? But when I reread it, it's like they're looking for jobs. Like the post was like, oh, like the Midnight Society member, like staff is now looking to work in other places, not like we're trying to sell the studio and continue to work on this. They're like, oh no, that's like
Shit.
totally dead.
Yeah, that's not what you want to hear.
But I don't know, fun experiment while it lasted. They did build like somewhat functional game.
Yeah.
I don't have like, I guess Neon Heroes is probably the one that I'm most excited for right now, but even that one, I didn't have a lot of fun on the last playtest. You can change the range
Yeah,
at any
what
time after
changed?
you've.
You need to unstake to change the range. You can't adjust the range of an open position. You can only add or remove from an open
Yeah,
position.
you can remove it and then rebalance it, though, which you might ending
Yes.
up having to do anyway if you get too far out of your range.
Yeah, yeah. You can remove liquidity anytime and then just adjust it however you want, but you can't change the range of an open position. The open position can only be added to or removed from.
Check the Neon Hero Discord, and they haven't announced. I think of what else. I haven't been paying attention to boss fighters.
Yeah, I wonder.
I'd like to have
I should
another.
check in on my what was that stuff called? Marketplace. It's like open
But yeah,
loot.
I don't know.
Let's see.
I like having a game to grind, and I'm kind of like I stopped grinding rivals, which was like my main thing that I was doing for years. Now like I have an NFT gaming gap in my life. I've just been playing a lot of Counter Strike. Normal Counter Strike, I play it pretty much every day. I'm getting back into
Yeah, that's
Dave
a
the
good one.
Diver. I started playing the new Madden recently. I signed up for Game Pass for a month. So
Nice.
and that came with the new Madden. I haven't played Madden in forever, but since I've been getting back into football games and stuff, I was like, I'll try it out. Created a franchise where I
Oh,
drafted a
snap.
team from scratch. Got the Seahawks. I got Justin Jefferson on the Seahawks, just like real life. Yeah, I don't know if anybody has any suggestions for NFT games. I thought there was one that I don't know if it was like the Pudgy card game, but
Oh, I do want to try that still.
just I'm sick of card games. I'm just not really a card like I don't play trading card games out. It does seem to be like the easiest way for people to make collectibles turn into gaming assets.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from Work Taken in forever. Wow, like everybody on Wax.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still that or loot just not worth it. Loot was
Yeah. Who knows?
that's how like a lot of rewards become. Oh yeah, we'll give you a reward for playing our game, and then word token becomes so worthless. I don't know. Definitely on Wax,
What?
and not on Wax. Haven't the buzz has kind of died down.
Oh, damn. Looks like my open loot stuff sold. $415 in this. Damn. Yeah, damn. That's cool. The Boss Fighters Alpha skin sold for $150. I wonder what that sells for now. Yeah, that was a good sell. Damn. Let's see. Boss Fighters. Boss Fighters.
The game
Let's see if I
was
can buy
kind of
anything.
fun. The coolest part is that you could mix VR and non VR. But like the matchmaking was pretty
Yeah.
fucking janky. Like you and I,
Yeah, that's true. That was a little rough.
like all fucking or played.
No. It looks like they're still selling for like $60, but I sold mine sold for 150. That was great. No, I had to go to like my collection, and then there's a marketplace tab where it's
It,
like,
but it doesn't.
yeah, that I'm also not so sure.
Crazy how much better Comic Cup was really. Oh, not great.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, I'm on the wrong game.
Right. I got all this stuff. The other thing that sold, it looks like, was a big time box, a crate I had. That got me $250.
One of these.
It was exclusive mystery box. It was called.
I don't like that you can't.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, if anybody has any gaming recommendations, send them our way. I'm gonna do this last game tomorrow. We got some off the rails. I've been back to posting videos since we got through the month and a half of Yamster videos.
Yeah.
Because they want us to watch it.
Dang. This totally worked. That box also still sells for like $275. It looks like that's what I sold mine for too, but
Yeah. I'm not trying to.
same. It was already pretty. No, oof, almost died.
He's a prize winner, but
Let's
I think
see.
that new survival reality game show here.
The one where like the family pulls their people out or whatever.
What is it called? It's called like Traction or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I don't know. I watch a lot of those, like the Naked and Afraid, but even like the Alone and like that style one where Survivor. Honestly, I don't even hate Survivor, which is like the most campy of all the Survivor shows. Survivor's
Oh,
still fun.
be wicked. Damn it! There
Survivor,
goes
I
my
don't
bragging
actually
rights.
believe that. Like those people aren't survivalists though, so it's so much less. Like
Yeah,
they give them food and like supplies and shit. Different than Alone, where someone's like living in like 13-degree weather and they have to build everything and like kill animals and sleep in their skin and shit. Like it's a very different vibe.
yeah.
Congrats to you, Wicked. I might just give everybody Wicked. We will 46 cents. Of Walter, 1.25 million.
Damn. So almost enough to do like a KYC and get my fucking 400 bones out of here. Yeah.
Fell will get and man. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till next
Yo yo.
week. Or not next week. Till tomorrow for stream until crypto analysis.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a new
Let's
counter.
see if see how right we were. Let's see how sideways the market drained.
Tensai.
Someone was opening packs of Pokemon cards that look like live on stream.
Like a new set that came. And
Like physical
Cluster still
ones?
streaming big time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cyborg, we will rate. Usually does like Twitchy Tide. Also did Monsuta. Axe trade. But later,
Oh, that one. I
everybody.
want to try that still.
Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
See you.